guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Cece. This is going to be my April reading wrap up, which is going to be pretty short and sweet because April was not a good reading month for me. April is a really hard month for me in general. I don't like it. And I spend a lot of the month just kind of binge watching TV or playing video games to kind of get through it. Can you see my cat? Look at him. So anyway, I didn't read very much in April, so let's go ahead and get into the wrap up. The first book I read was Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzeanne Collins. This is, it's a prequel to The Hunger Games, and it is Haymitch's story of when he went into the Hunger Games and the arena. I love the Hunger Games books. I read them when they first came out many years ago, and I was very excited to get back into this world, especially for Haymitch's backstory. I love him as a character. So anyway, my thoughts on this book. It was great. I really liked it. I really loved seeing Haymitch as a teenager. He reminded me a lot of Peeta. Actually, he was just a very loving, caring guy. He's so sweet. And there's a lot of cameos in this story. So people that we know from the regular Hunger Games books and from the Ballad of Snakes and Songbirds. Is that the name of it? There's cameos from that as well. So I really enjoyed that. So you get to see like a young Ivy and see how Ivy and Haymitch meet. It was fantastic. Of course, it was very sad, but I didn't cry. I was expecting to cry. I really thought my heart was going to be ripped out, but I didn't cry. I think because, you know, I kind of knew what was going to happen. I did know why Haymitch becomes the way he is, because that is, like, his story is kind of told. So I wasn't really surprised, but I really liked it. If you are a fan of the Hunger Games, definitely read this book, and I'm very excited for the movie. So the next book that I read was Suspicious Minds by Christy Barritt. This is part of the Squeaky Clean mystery series. This is a Christian cozy mystery series, and so far, this is the third book that I've read, because I read the first book. I read like book 1.5 or something, which was a novella, and this book, they all have a lot of really great faith content in them. They take place in Norfolk, Virginia, and I'm in Virginia, so, and my stepdaughter lives in that area, so I know the area pretty well, so that was exciting. It's also very funny. It's about a woman who, for her job, she cleans up after crime scenes, and she got hired to go underneath a house because there was like mold or mildew or something under the house in the crawl space, and she has the equipment that she could clean it. So she gets hired to go under there, and when she's under there, she finds a body of an Elvis impersonator. It's crazy. So then she kind of gets pulled into trying to solve this murder case of this Elvis guy. I recommend these books if you are looking for a clean, cozy mystery with lots of great faith content. Next was Where the Lost Wander by Amy Harmon. This was my first Amy Harmon book, and I loved it. I gave it 5 stars, and I will definitely be reading more of her books. This was historical. I'd say it was Christian. I think it was Christian fiction because there definitely was a lot of faith elements in it. It takes place, was it the Oregon Trail? Were they on the Oregon Trail? It was a family going west, trying to go to California. Is that the same thing? I don't know. I don't remember. But it was about a family that was in, you know, a covered wagon trying to go west. And I believe the group of people that were all traveling west, they hired this guy who breeds mules. Was it mules? Donkeys? My memory is terrible. He breeds animals that are needed on the trail, and he is kind of like their guide. So he goes along with them, and in the very beginning their group gets attacked and awful things happen. I did write down this book had beautiful writing. It was a heartbreaking story. There was lots of faith. It was very gritty. There were a few, I don't know if spicy is the right word to use here, but there were a few scenes that were a little bit described. It definitely wasn't closed door, but the scenes were between a husband and a wife. So if you don't want anything at all in your book, then maybe skip this one. But I didn't think it was too much. There is also trigger warnings for rape and child death in this. Like I said, it is very gritty, accurate to the time that this was taking place. But if you love really accurate historical fiction, I say give it a try. I really loved it. The next one was The Tempest at Annabells Lighthouse by Jaime Wright. This one just came out in April, I believe. And I really like this one also. I gave this one 4 stars. This was pretty neat how she did it. She incorporated the poem Annabel Lee by Edgar Allan Poe throughout the book. So it kind of gave the vibes of the poem. And that poem is my favorite from Edgar Allan Poe. I'm a big Poe fan because I grew up in Baltimore, but I love that poem so much that several years ago when I had like my horror YouTube channel, I did a poem reading of that poem, and I was kind of dressed up as like an Edgar Allan Poe bride or like a gothic-y type of bride, and I read the poem. So I've always been a huge fan of it, and I really loved how Jaime Wright put this poem into the book and how she used the poem. And there is something at the end, the very last chapter, that really ties everything together and ties the poem to the story. And it was shocking to me, and I loved it. I thought that was so well done. Again, it's like all of her other books where there's 2 timelines. The one in the past, I think, was like 1850s, and it's set where this lighthouse is in the Upper Peninsula, and there's a mining town in Wisconsin, Minnesota. I'm not sure, but it's like a lighthouse kind of setting. And then the current timeline takes place now, and it is about a woman who does research for like ghost stories around the country. She's an author, and she heard about this Annabelle ghost at this lighthouse, so she goes there to investigate to be able to write her story. I liked both timelines. I liked the past one more because I generally like historical fiction more than contemporary, and I liked the people in the past one more than the main character in the current timeline. The wife, or the author in the current timeline, she was hard to stomach for a good portion of the book. I was not happy with her, and I was just like so mad at her for the way she was behaving. But that's kind of how the world works, right? So you're not gonna like every person that you come across. And I felt like her storyline was realistic because not every marriage is perfect. So I liked it. The last book that I read for the month was The Queen of Poisons by Robert Thorogood. This is book 3 in the Marlowe Murder Club. This takes place in a beautiful little town in England called Marlowe, and it is about these 3 ladies. One of them is like 80 years old, and there's 2 younger ladies. One is a pastor's wife and one is a dog walker, and they meet in the first book. They come across each other based off of these circumstances, and they meet and they solve a murder together, and then each book a different murder happens, and these ladies work with the police to solve the murder. In the first 2 books I really loved the ladies, but in the 3rd book I didn't like them as much, and I didn't love the motivation for the murder. So it was not my favorite of the series. I don't know what I gave it. Maybe 3 stars. I definitely like the first 2 books better. I think book 4 is out, and I will read that because I do really like this series as a whole. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on it. That's it, I guess. So yeah, those are all the books that I read in April. Let me know if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them. I hope everybody is having a great day, and I will see y'all soon. Bye.